Hi, everyone. My name is Tatiana, and I am here with the cast and the crew of Break, the short film. I'm here with Jatona King, Celeste
Hello, how are
Banks.
you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Celeste Banks, the writer.
Hi.
Jasmine Giles, the editor,
Hello.
and Kiara Barnes, director.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. Talk about why make a film like Break. I guess I can pass this off to Celeste, the writer. Why write and tell a story like Break?
Um, okay. Okay. Well, I guess I have to start with the truth, right? So I wrote Break as an exercise. I just quit my job out of academia, and it was pretty much a call for myself and like, okay, Celeste, you can do this. You can be a writer full time. You got it. You can be a filmmaker. And I wanted to write something that I just experienced. So I don't know, some genius down the street was doing something to his yard. And it happened like the entire street, our water, imagine mud, and that was coming out of our sink. That was coming out
Oh,
of our
wow.
faucets. It was in our toilets. It was really
Mhm.
difficult. And for the first time, I understand exactly what people in Flint were going through. I have the privilege to only have been through it for 3 days. And that story really stuck with me. So that's how Break started. It started as an exercise, but I wanted to write a story that immediately happened to me. So, yes.
Is it intended for Break to be a Black story? I guess that's a question for you and Kiera.
Okay, I can start. I like writing about Black people.
Mhm.
I don't,
Amen.
yeah, like I don't really feel the need to write about white stories. I mean, we have so many of them.
Right.
So in college, it's so crazy how much you unlearn things when you start getting more educated.
Mhm.
I think what happened was I thought that only white stories were valuable until I got to college. And when I understood, like, oh, I can write about what I know, who I look like. And that sort of kind of gave me permission to actually move in that direction.
I think the story is a Black story. Especially if you look at communities of color who are disadvantaged, like with water crisis, like Terry was experiencing. And, really the whole scene with the security guard that typically
Mhm.
happens in Black communities. But I
Right.
think it's important for us to tell those stories too as a way to shine a light to the rest of the world, like, hey, this is actually going on. And I was talking
Mhm.
about this when we were like in pre-production before she gave was like, hey, let's do Break. I was telling her how I was just want me as a filmmaker, I wanted to turn a mirror on the society so they really can truly see themselves and see
Mhm.
that we're not a perfect people. That's all humans. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
I'm
very
so glad you said that too, because I feel like there's like small odes to Blackness, especially Black women, that I feel when you see the film that is very much prevalent. Like I can remember so many times my mom washing my hair in the sink, and some days you love it, some days you hate it. Uh, and, that's just like a whole experience. So I love that, and even the conversation where she's like, just put it in braids, um, or cut it all off. And then
Mhm.
Jatana, your line to your daughter is like, no, your hair is beautiful. Like, we're going to wash it. We're going to do it.
Yeah. And I think it's important for moments like that in film. So it's our
Hmm.
culture, right? Even from the little
Yeah.
toothbrush with the baby hairs.
Hmm.
And that's that Sunday night or Sunday morning after church when you gotta go sit down and get your hair done. It is a nod to Black culture, and it's who we are. And I feel like the
Hmm.
more the world sees that, the more they realize like, oh, they're just the same like anybody else. So
Right. Jatana, what was it like to step into the character of Terry, to step into this woman, into a day in her life where she's at her breaking point?
Yeah, it's almost like deja vu, honestly, because not only have I struggled, you know, financially and just being, just so happened to be a mother who is single, um, you see it all around you as well. You know, my mother was also a single mother, you know, and just looking at grandparents and aunts. So it was almost like you're just reliving life almost again. And so I'm very grateful for Celeste and Kiara having me on this project because we were able to shed light on women and the everyday struggles that Black women have to go through day after day. And do all Black women have to go through it? No. But there are quite a few that doesn't shed that light on it. And it allows us to be able to control the narrative. A lot of times you may see that crimes are being committed, but you're not seeing the backstory on how that crime happened or what happened. They were at that breaking point or that desperate point. So it was definitely an interesting process. I loved it. I love the fact that they shined the light on issues that we go through. But it was also a draining process as well to be able to have to relive that and to be able to just show people and to have to keep doing it again and again and again to show people what we go through.
Yeah, that actually segues into my next question. What was the hardest scene, do you think, to film in the film?
Yeah, it was actually a day. We did all of our emotional scenes on one day. And so it was the scene where she helped me. She paid for my groceries and we brought the groceries out. That scene was very difficult because that was an emotional scene. Being with the security guard in the back when he was not necessarily arresting me, but asking me for my ID, that was very emotional. In the grocery store, telling him right outside the grocery store that that's not who I am, telling my daughter, you know, that mommy did a bad thing, just having all of those emotions back to back to back to back to back. It was very difficult because you have to pull from somewhere, you know, you have to pull. So having to relive, you know, again, past hurts and just pains. I am not blessed to be one of those actresses that can just cry. They say cry and they can bring down tears. I'm not one of those. I have to actually pull from something. And so to have to pull from something from 12 hours a day, from 12 hours that day was really rough. It was really rough, but I would gladly do it again and again and again. I think that's our responsibility as artists. You know, when we want to shine light on something, we have to come from a painful place. Especially like when there's injustices or anything like that, you as artists, we have to pull from somewhere. So I was grateful for it.
Due to everything going on now, what do you guys think the conversations will be like when people see Break?
You get Celeste, you about to go? I think that it will be a conversation where, you know, I pray other people of different races see it so they realize, like Jatona said, like all cases or all crimes, you don't know the backstory to it. So I think it will show people like, hey, we really need to like look at the bigger picture. But it's so interesting that all of this had happened because when we started Break, it was purely, for me, it was out of frustration of like working on set and things not going to post. But then this year, when we had a whole rollout plan, a festival plan, then COVID happened. And then in June with all the killings, and I'm just like, this timeline I would hate to say it's amazing, but it's amazing because it kind of goes along with our story, but it sucks because what we are going through right now. But I hope it just shines a light and open up that conversation for people to realize like, okay, we need to take a bigger, like look at ourselves as humans and realize what are we doing to each other. That's my hope. But you know.
Just to piggyback on Kiara, I think it's actually divine because had not COVID happened, and just kind of going towards the injustices and the killings that's going on right now, had not COVID happened, a lot of people wouldn't be at home to be able to protest for, 17, 18, 19 days to be able to shed that light on there. But I think what it's going to do is to remind people and give people that, not necessarily wake up call, but just to remind people that Flint still has no water. Like, it's still an ongoing thing, which is really, really, really sad. So I hope it kind of reignites this, because there's something kind of like a revolution going on right now. There's like a revival revolution going on right now. So I'm hoping that when people see it, they'll open their eyes again and say, hey, this is another issue that is contributing to systemic racism, that there are people that still don't have drinking water.
Right. 100%. And I think that's an immediate takeaway when you first watch the film. You're like, oh, like, okay, this is where we're headed now. How do we get to, our breaking point? Miss Jasmine, I want to highlight you a moment. A Black woman editor, that is not something that you hear about, see about, read about every single day. And you did amazing work on this film. I want to talk about I guess the importance of your role and what you brought to the film, because I see it for sure. I loved just the I'm trying to put into words, like, you can, the way it's cut, you can see in that police scene, you can see the fear and the hurt. And I mean, all that also goes to your acting, but just the way that it's shot, you can see like how you don't know what's going to happen next. And I really love that. So I want to highlight you for a moment and just talk about your role and what you brought to the film.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that the emotion was there. I wanted to make sure that you were able to stop and really digest all of that emotion, especially when it came to,
that's the word.
Yeah, when it came to the daughter and the mother's bond. I want people to see that. When it came to the washing scene, of course, me and Kiara worked on it. We made sure we got all the good bits
I love it.
from the film. Because that really is a bonding moment for all Black women and their daughters. Like, the first person that washes your hair is your mother. So we just wanted to make sure that was actually there, that you saw that. Also with just, the scene with the groceries, a lot of pride. Like, Black women have a lot of pride. We don't want, we don't really like to take handouts like that, but sometimes, like she said, this isn't a handout. This is something that you deserve. I'm giving this to you. So we just wanted to make sure that all of that was shown, and was just, the audience actually was like, okay, I get it. And Black editors, especially female editors, we are not like that. I definitely tried to make that like a staple. Like, oh, she's a Black female editor, that's awesome. Like, listen, we're trying to conquer over here. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, and for the record, I hated getting my hair washed in the sink. I hated it when I was little, because my mom, she would have a cup, like this huge cup of water, and she'd dump it on my hair. I feel like I was drowning, like I was getting waterboarded or something. I hated it. I just wanted to chime in on that.
Yeah, like you said, sometimes it's like, we don't like it. Listen, it's a procedure for all of us. But when we look back on it, we're just like, hey, it was good times,
It's a staple in the culture. So I feel like when everybody sees that scene, it'll be like, yep, I relate it. I want to talk about really fast. I'm curious about the scene in the film where the young lady comes over, played by Destiny Webster, and she's at the checkout, and she says, what exactly? Hope she had her food stamps, or she should have had her, something about food stamps. Yeah, she ran out of food stamps. What is not the importance, but why did you feel it necessary to add that scene in?
Okay, so I think that's a question for me.
Yes.
Yeah. Writer. I thought that it was important to add, because a lot of people are stigmatized for being on food stamps, not knowing that it ain't that much. It's not that much on food stamps. And to be very frank, they need more. Like, single mothers, parents in general, they need more. But it's like a huge stigma for food stamps, especially depending on where you fall on, like, we're not going to sit here and sugarcoat things. Black people tend to be classist. Especially you get up to that elitist type of thing. People think that food stamps is, how do I say it? It's like you failed,
Right.
like you failed. And we're not really kind to ourselves in our own communities when we see someone on food stamps or something like that. We automatically thinking, oh, she got a whole bunch of baby daddies, she got all of this, and that's why she on food stamps, when it could simply be she needs them. There's no other reason.
Period.
And I mean, I've experienced this growing up, coming from, I would say, a well-to-do Black family, and not even really that. We in the middle, but food stamps was like, it seems like it was the stamp of, this is what's wrong with the Black community. Y'all want handouts. And it's not like that. So I thought it was very important to put that in there, because we do stigmatize each other. That's just the truth. Right. We do laugh at each other about, oh, you're on this or you're on that. But we rarely, and I'm not saying this is for all folks, this is just my experience. But when I was growing up, it was like a lack of empathy there. Like it's because they're failing that's why they're on food stamps. It's because they don't have a good family life that's why they're on food stamps. So for me, I put that in there to just pretty much highlight the fact that we do stigmatize each other if you are on welfare. And I just don't, honestly, that's just not a fair assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and if I can add a point, I think it goes back to also turning a mirror on the community as well. Because especially in this day and age when we're all fighting together, there is still so many layers within our own community that we need to debunk and actually really talk about and discuss. Because like Celeste said, there is a classism issue within the Black community. But there's just so many fights we got to fight, but one fight at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah, but because I think that was one line that we didn't really go back and forth on, but I was kind of like, but after a while, I'm like, it needs to be said, because I mean, it happens. And if we want to be honest and be authentic, it's another thing that people need to, a pill to swallow, to say, hey, this is, see yourself and not the best of light, regarding Destiny's character and saying that line. But I just want to give my 2 cents.
Kiara, I want to touch on filmmaking and making films. Barry Jenkins recently spoke out, and he said, regardless of the way you do it, filmmaking is not cheap. A lot of people like to come and say, shoot it on your iPhone or make a TikTok or do this or do that. And I love the fact that he spoke out and said, regardless of how you're going to do it, it's going to be expensive to make a film. So I want to talk about, kind of, since you are the director, your opportunity from reading break to deciding to casting to picking out locations, and just that journey of being a filmmaker for a little bit.
The journey, especially indie journey, is hard. I mean, because when me and Celeste first started doing our pre-production, we were like, okay, I got $250, you got $250, and so we're gonna make this movie for a few $100s. And then we started thinking okay, we want this vision, because also I'm a type of person, you have to respect the vision, because this was directing my first short film. And I was like, I don't want to come in. I've had years learning the industry, learning the different positions, so I want to do great work, and it's going to take money. And there were so many things that we weren't willing to compromise on, especially finding a grocery store. First of all, a Black owned grocery store that was closed on a Sunday that had buggies. It took forever to find it. It wasn't easy, and luckily, it was donated to us, but we had to partner with a restaurant and encourage people to come out to eat so we can get a percentage. Texting my friends, you know, just really telling people about it just so they can donate. And then of course, trying to do some promotion on social media. But I mean, a lot of it came from Celeste and I's pocket, and we hustled for the money. I had 3 jobs at the time, and spending no money going out, nothing, just all of my savings and money going to break. And then once we finished, we're like, okay, so now we have to pay for sound, like in post-production. And that's something that surprised me. Well, I knew it, but how expensive post-production was, I wasn't aware. And it's like, all right, well, we got to go get the money. Does that mean more hours at work, or, you know, trying to find some freelance work just to get the job done? But it was very important for us to do it well. And to do something well, you have to have money. It's expensive.
Yeah.
Just really quick, I want to piggyback back off of Kiara. Thank you to everybody who donated. We really appreciate it. I'm talking about my mom. Thank you so much. Straight up executive producer. And I think this is, as a creative, I think we all need to sort of kind of get comfortable with having a support system and being able to ask your support system for what you need. Because if we did not ask, we would not have received it. Okay. And I'm telling you, sometimes you just gotta humble yourself and ask for what you want. And I pretty much, that's what I was doing the whole time. I'm like, okay, I hate asking my mama for money. I hate asking my friends for money. But guess what I did? I got on that phone and asked for some money. And thank you so much for the guys who donated. We really do appreciate you.
Yeah,
you know,
that's,
you so
much.
What you just said, Celeste, it just kind of reminded me of just the scripture, how it says pride comes before destruction. And just even being reminded, like, we were placed on this earth to do community. Like, where did that come from, where we're so prideful that we don't want to ask people for things, you know? And it's just, I applaud both of you guys just for, you know, buckling down, doing what you had to do, get out there. You guys were in the trenches on the day of, wearing multiple hats, and, you know, so I just appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And I just want to tell you guys openly, thank you for dropping pride, because if you had not dropped it, who knows what would have come of this, you know? So thank you guys.
And had Terry not dropped her pride, you know, she wouldn't have had no groceries. Like, sometimes you just have to, you know, drop your pride. And I love that. What was your audition process like, Jatona, and then working with Kiara?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the audition process literally came out of the blue. Kiara sent me a message and she said, hey, we are trying to find our lead character and we don't know, we just, everybody who's auditioned, they just weren't hitting the nail. They weren't hitting the nail. And I was like, okay. And so she sent me the script. She told me, you know, she sent me what I needed to do. And I said, all right, it was literally last minute. And when when I got on the phone with her, she called and she said, you know, you have a son, so you can do it with your son. And I'm thinking in my head, there's no way I'm going to film an audition with my son. Like, this isn't happening. I don't care if it's off camera. Like, I'm going to go, you know, with my homie down the street and take the audition. And then when I read it, I was like, oh, that's why it's okay, because the scene was with a child. So I was like, okay. And so we actually did it before my son went to school. So I woke him up early that morning to tape the audition, and he surprised the living heck out of me, because when he did it, it was 2 different characters, and he had to do the security officer and the kid. And so when he got to the security officer, he switched his voice and he got all deep, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna start taping with you more often. So it was really cool, the audition process. She I think it was about a day or 2 before she got back with me, and she said, you know, they loved it. And then she gave me further details. So the audition process was very last minute, but it was great. I loved it. Filming with them was amazing. When I say Black women rock, Black women freaking rock, man. Like, everything was just seamless. Like, they came in, they knew what shots they were gonna, you know, get. They had everything down to the T. We filmed so quickly. Definitely one of my favorite sets that I've been on to this day. And I've been on, major motion pictures, they know I was Taraji stand-in on Hidden Figures, Best of Enemies, and What Men Want, and doing crime reenactment shows and all of that. They were hands down one of my favorites because they got in there, they knew what they wanted, even down to the camera woman, like Angela, Angelica. And yeah, even her, she got in there and shot. So I'm like, is this what it looked like when women run the show? Like, we need more sets where it's all women because they killed it. I loved it. I didn't have to do I didn't have to do more than 2 takes for most of the shots. They literally got in, got out. They were super professional. I loved the entire experience.
What a blessing. Because I've been on some sets and let me tell you, it's like, why are we doing 11 takes of this? Like,
it also goes to how good your actor is. If your actor is prepared and knows how to act, is not as difficult it is. And plus, we were dealing with a child on set, and me and Celeste was like, no, we need to. Like, when I tell you, we planned everything down to a water break. Okay, like we have 5 minutes here. We're gonna eat some snacks and then come back. And we wrapped 30 minutes early every day. Well, both days.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, we play no games.
Right. To piggyback off of everyone, I think it's important. I think this is extremely important to know that you can't really be productive if you work yourself to death. I understand that industry standard is 12 hours. I know some people who've been on set for 24 hours. I don't see how you guys remain productive. I don't see how people remain safe. And at the end of the day, we only have one life. So people need to go to sleep. And me and Kiara, we was like eye on eye with this. Like, we ain't about to be here for no 16, 12 hour. Like, no, we're not about to do that. What we are going to do is we're going to be professional, efficient with our time and leave on time. And so it would be really great if more productions that do that. But I don't know if it's going to change, but I don't see how you can physically be there spiritually, mentally for over 12 hours. I just don't see that. I can't be there for over 12 hours.
Yeah, that I agree with that too. It makes me wonder, everybody who doesn't have a trailer, how they stay productive, because everybody just can't go back to their trailer and hang out. I know Break is more of a serious film, but did anything funny or exciting happen on set that we can talk about, that we can share?
Was anything funny? I think we were just so focused on getting in and getting out. It's funny now in hindsight, but the day before break wasn't about to happen because all our equipment got damaged, and we were like, okay, yeah.
So it's funny now.
And then the night before, then the first day I got on set, it was just so much. I had a nosebleed. But now we're like, okay, that was funny. But did anything funny happen? I don't know. I'm so focused that I don't remember.
I don't know if it was necessarily, it was funny to me. Just to see when she was getting the shot, when I was washing her hair, how she was standing on the cabinet. I was like, that took some skill right there. and it was perfect because she was just short enough where her head wouldn't hit the ceiling, and she was still able to get that over the head shot. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then also, I don't know if y'all remember it, and my laugh is weird, so ignore it. But
I have a weird laugh too.
When my twist came out on set,
I remember that.
And she said, it comes out? And I was like, yeah, it's weave. It's weave. And that goes back to doing multiple hats. Celeste put my twist back in my hair right before we shot that scene. So I think that was probably the only funny thing that I could think of.
Yeah. I was literally, I'm always about time when it's on set. I'm always about time. So I don't remember anything funny. I remember it being happy. you know,
Good.
very light, very like, you know, at the end of the day, I like reminding people that we aren't doctors. We're not saving nobody's life, you know, none of that. So yeah, it was light. And I remember the twist. That was the first time I put weave in. So that was really great. And I think I did a great job. So yay me. Thank you.
Ladies, I want to ask to close, what are 3 reasons, and we can go down the line, but 3 reasons why somebody should watch Break? And we can start with Celeste, maybe.
Okay, so the first reason is it's a labor of love, you know, from Black women. I think we're all about Black creators, let's watch some Black creators. We are Black creators, and you can watch it because of that. Second, it does have a very important social message. I mean, water, we as a first world country, running water is very important. You know, it's extraordinarily important. The third reason I would have to say is, you know, it's a nice light film. You know, it deals with some deep issues, but at the end it's very uplifting. And I think during this time we need to give ourselves a break. We need to give ourselves a break and see something uplifting, right? So those are my 3 reasons of why you should watch Break.
Okay.
I guess I'll go next. My 3 reasons are similar to Celeste. It's a lighthearted film. It has a great social message, and we're Black creators. Like Celeste said, we're in the age of, and I think it's an all Black cast and crew, which, you know, you can see the quality, which will let the world know, like, hey, y'all, we have the skills, so hire us, book us. You know, I think my main goal for the film was to really elevate the cast and crew. And I think the greatest elevation is the world to see it and to recognize their work, and then want to book them, and then wanting to hire them, because, you know, due to COVID, it's been a drought, and we need the money. We need to sustain. We need the funding so we can continue to tell our stories and not have Hollywood kind of tell our stories for us, put us in position so we can. So the more that people watch, the more likely it is for those to get those opportunities. So I think that's why they should watch.
Love that.
And I am actually here. I actually took one of mine. One of the reasons people should watch is because we're able to control the narrative, you know, in this particular movie or this short film. And we're able to shine light on issues that, you know, that we have. Not only that, to be able to spark that plug, that community matters, you know, see something, do something. So I think they should watch it just to be able to refuel their soul that, hey, I know there's a lot going on, but we need to do something. If we see that there's a lack, we need to do something. And I think that's one of the main problems that we have as a world, you know, just even outside the Black community, just as the world, if we would pick up our cross, but if we would just help one another, you know, if we see someone is lacking, there's more than enough wealth in this country that nobody should be poor, nobody should be starving, nobody should be without water. So you should watch it so you can see how to be a human in so many words, just how to be a human. Caprice, which is her actual name, the lady who helped her, she didn't have $1 million. You know, she didn't have a lot of money. She had 50. And that meant the world to somebody. So that's one of my main reasons. It's just to be able to spark that plug, spark that fire. People should watch it so that they can get in their system and their knowledge, so that it's just first nature that if someone's lacking, I should step in.
Yeah. Love that. Beautiful.
All right. Well,
and because it's made by Black women, and I'm done.
Yes.
I guess I'll close it out. Editor, always closing stuff out. So I definitely want to give a shout out, and this is one of my reasons, is there's just an amazing talent. There's amazing talent in this film, from the writing to the acting to the directing, of course. It's definitely a beautiful ensemble created, of course, like I said, by Black women, Black men. They helped all of us. We all came together to make this film what it is. And we definitely would like the support of not only our community, but like of others, if we're all coming together, or all, fighting this racist war, really. So it's just like for all of us to just be able to come together and make something that has a message across the board. So it's the acting, the talent, the directing, the writing, all of it in one. It was a really great project to actually come and work on. Super excited about it. Really don't have too many other reasons, but I'm pretty sure they're there. I'm always going to be advocate of these ladies for sure. They make amazing stuff, so I'll be here. You already know that, though.
I love that. I'll be here too. I love the film. I watched it multiple times. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to shed some light and host an interview about Break. I can't wait for everybody else to see it. I know they're gonna love it. So I'm super excited about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for taking the time out to interview us. It's greatly appreciated.
Of course. Anything for Kiara.
You did an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you. Of course.